Hey, welcome back friends, TechTale here, and today I'm going to be making a Masterwork set from scratch. Now this isn't the traditional set from scratch because I will be using any equipment and armor that I usually would while mining and smithing. What I mean by from scratch is that I will be mining and smithing everything that you would need to do to make a Masterwork set all by myself without using any GE. So let's go ahead and get right into it. The first thing that I need to do is unlock the ability to make the Masterwork Armour Set. Now this is done by making the complete Elder Rune +5 set. This is going to require approximately 200 bars, a little bit less, but anything extra will be going into making the Masterwork set itself, so not a big issue. On top of that, I will be timing this as much as I can to try to keep track of approximately how much time it takes in order to do all the component steps, in case if anybody would like to follow along at home. I have managed to gain all the necessary ores that I need, and it took a lot longer than I was anticipating. It's about 2 hours and 45 minutes into this, so let's go ahead and smith it all up to make the Elder Bars and make my first set of +5 Elder Rune armor so that I can actually start working towards the goal of Masterwork armor. This is going to take a little bit longer than I was anticipating. As you guys can see, I am back to mining. Unfortunately, I only got enough ores to make a complete set of +4 Elder Rune armor. I need to make +5. Unfortunately, +5 is half of the cost, so I need to go ahead and collect 200 more bars. Did spend about an hour worth of smithing so far, so we're up to about 3 3/4 hours right now. I just finished up the last piece of Elder Rune Armor +5. This did unlock the ability to make the Masterwork Armor set, so that was my entire goal with this. Do want to mention it was 5.5 hours worth of mining in order to mine all of the different ores that I needed to make all of these armor sets, and about an hour and a half worth of smithing. It would have only been about an hour worth of smithing, no mining, if I had just bought the bars. So realistically, I spent about 6 hours worth of time just so that I would get the bars, and it's not worth it for 6 hours just to get 400 Elder Rune bars. That's not good GP per hour. It would have been much better off spending an hour doing some bossing and making the money that I would have spent on these Elder Rune bars, but that wouldn't be from scratch, so that's why I did it this way. I do want to sell these on the GE just to see how much money I actually made in these 7 hours. All in all, it came out to about 4 million GP. So we're looking at about 500,000 GP per hour. Obviously not a good way of making money, but if you're an Iron Man, this is the way you need to do it. So 7 hours as an Iron Man, highly recommend just buying the bars if you are a main account though. I do want to get into making the Masterwork Armor set now though, so let's go ahead and reset the timer to 0 and start doing that. So we are about 2 hours in, and I'm just finishing up my first mining location. Did look it up on Wikipedia, and it looks like I need 600 bars of each type of bar, so that means I'm going to need 600 of the majority of the ores. I need 1200 iron, 1200 runite, 1200 bainite, and 1800 luminite. Fortunately, there are 4 of those ores right over here next to the quest shop. So I was able to get 600 copper, tin, mithril, and 1200 iron within about 2 hours. The coal is now finished up. I did kind of try a couple different methods of getting the coal. The concentrated coal rocks, they were really fast in order to get the coal, but unfortunately you can't actually use a rune or an Elder Rune ore box there because there's no way of depositing all of the ores from a box into a deposit box. It's really stupid. They really need to fix that mechanic, but all in all it ended up not being worth going to the concentrated coal, so I did go to Falador instead, and it took me about 45 minutes in order to get the 1200 coal that I needed. I did get a couple extra in case I want to use this smithing auto heater at some point. I don't know if it's going to be useful or not, but did grab a couple extra, and now I'm going to be going for adamant as well as runite ore here in Prifddinas. Another 2.5 hours, another 2 ores down. I did complete the 600 adamantite and 1200 runite rocks. I do need 1200 because I need a rune bar in order to make an elder rune bar. Unfortunately, this is already starting to get pretty slow, and we're already only up to level 50 equipment, so this is just going to continue slowing down the further along I get, and it's probably going to rack up the time pretty fast here soon. And the last ore is completed. I did get over the 1800 luminite that I needed. I did that in the Keldegrim mines. It was kind of toss-up between Keldegrim and Mining Guild, but I just decided to go to Keldegrim. It was easier. One thing I do want to mention as well, I did have to come back to Varrock for 600 more iron ore. You guys are probably yelling at me that I need 2 iron ore to make the iron bar, and I also need an iron ore in order to make a steel bar. So I need 1800, not 1200, so I did come back here and grab that as well. About 2 hours to complete both of those. That puts my running tally for all the free-to-play ores at 7 hours and 15 minutes in order to complete all the free-to-play ores. Now on to the members ores. And we begin the members ores. I just got up to 600 Orchalcite and 600 Dracolith. Did get them both from the Mining Guild, so I probably should have actually just done the coal and the runite there, seeing as how I was already down there, and the ore box can gather as many different types of ores as long as there's not over 140 of each ore. But pretty nice to get both of those done. About 4 hours worth of effort there, so members ores immediately get a pretty big jump in the amount of time it takes to collect them. So it looks like we're going to be kind of on a slow grind from here on out in order to get our set from scratch. Another 2 hours and another ore finished up. Phasmite is now completed. It's a little bit awkward to do it here because you do have to use a bank deposit box, but this is honestly the best place to mine them, so this is where I would mine up all of my Phasmite. Another 2 hours and another ore down. I just finished up Nechrite. Honestly, the tier 70 ores are just really annoying to do. I had to do it in the Alcarid resource dungeon. That's actually the best place to mine the Nechrite. So Phasmite and Nechrite both just kind of suck location-wise, but we have a very easy tier 80 coming up. Just finished up my 1200 Bainite. That's about 4 hours worth of collecting Bainite. I really love this spot, honestly. Unfortunately, it does require Fremnik Sea Boots 4 to get over here, so a lot of quest requirements and a lot of skill requirements in order to get those boots. But the advantage is 4 extremely close Bainite rocks, so that means rock opportunities is really nice. And if you right-click on Halvar here, he will certify your ore for absolutely free. So I really enjoy doing this. This is going to be what I do if I want to ever collect igneous geodes in the future. So I'm just about to start smithing, but I do want to just check the GE price of all these ores so that you can see for yourself how much you would be spending if you choose to skip over the mining step. Go ahead and get into the price checker, deposit all of these. And as you can see, it's about 17 million GP, so 24 hours, 17 million GP. A lot of it comes from the higher level ores, so if you want to just skip over the lower level ores, that's probably a good idea if you are able to buy them. As an Iron Man though, very nice to know 24 hours is how long it takes to get all these. Around about 4 hours in, and I have 12 Immaculate Alloy bars. Now time to start folding and turning them into the Masterwork pieces. Another 6 hours later, I just wanted to do a quick check-in at about 10 hours. I was able to make all the glorious bars by folding the Immaculate Alloy bars 1,001 times a piece. That was about 4 hours worth of effort, and then an additional 2 hours to make the Masterwork plates from the glorious bars. As you can see from the anvil, I still have a couple more steps to do, but we are getting close to the end here. An additional 5 hours have gone by. Actually, the last couple of steps of making the Masterwork Armour Set is extremely fast. Putting on the rivets and adding the lining as well as tempering the metal is very fast. It only added about 5 hours like I just said, so 15 hours worth of smithing to go from ores to the Masterwork Armour Sets. And as you can see in the background, I am making the armor set itself. As soon as I finish up here, I do want to check the GE prices of these, just so that I could see what I should be expecting to get from these, because I am going to be selling them just out of curiosity. of what the actual pricing is. 50 million. So I spent 24 hours worth of mining, 15 hours worth of smithing, and GE price is 50 million, basically flat. I am going to go to the GE and see what the actual sell price of these are really quick. They did all sell instantly, so I should be getting a pretty good loot here. I did have to drop the Masterwork gloves down a decent amount and the Masterwork plate legs, but both of them were above the 4 million GP per Masterwork plate, so not horrible. Might be a little bit less than I was expecting from that price check. Collecting my inventory, 50 million flat. Let's go ahead and examine this really quick. Yep, 50,200,000 for the Masterwork set. I can show you the GE history really quick. See that you get a little bit more for the plate body and the helm. The boots went for about 5 million, gloves for a little bit under 4, and the legs for about 12. So the prices are probably pretty variable right now. Seeing as how this armor set is essentially not coming out of the game except for people that are using the trimmed Masterwork Armor Set, I expect these prices to go down in the future, but 50 million GP for about 39 hours worth of effort. That means I was getting well over 1 million GP per hour for a completely AFK method of money making. Assuming the GE prices were correct for those ores, a lot of this money actually came from the smithing, so I'm going to have to look into how long the smithing actually took, as well as the pricing of all the other bars. See if I can't figure out a good way of making a little bit of money off of this actually. But all in all, very happy with this progress. Obviously took like 40 hours, so I would love it if you leave a like or subscribe down below. Show the appreciation for how much effort this actually takes to make a Masterwork Armor Set from scratch. 39 hours is not a small chunk of change, even if it is mostly AFK. Also, leave a comment if you have anything to say. Let me know if you guys are planning on doing this yourself, if you are an Iron Man. I know 39 hours is a large amount of effort, but having a tier 90 power armor for melee is extremely powerful, so I highly recommend doing it if you do have a little bit of AFK time and you don't know what else to do. As always though, have a good one.